What incarnation is that? What incarnation is that? Oh my lord. Look at the ugly freaking drift spares on the back. If you guys didn't watch my other video on the Z, we burned the tires off on the back, so we have the drift spares on there, and they are just hideous. I hate those. Also, this little gap here with the little mud flaps sucks, but the freaking back is looking minty with the bumper tug. Oh, looks good. But yeah, it snowed. I drove it this morning to work. I just got home to grab my GoPro. And I decided, you know, today was like one of the first days I actually drove this car in the full snow. So I decided, there's a cop about to drive by, but I decided, why not make a whole video about daily driving a rear-wheel drive car in the snow? What's going on, guys? My name is Mark Roden, and welcome back to the channel for another video. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today, is just rear-wheel drive cars in the snow and how easy it is to drive them. I feel like a lot of people in the world, they get confused and think that it's like impossible, when it most certainly is not. And we're gonna go over that today. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Can't forget the daily startup for y'all. What are you talking about, queen? Oh, I scared my cat. But oh, she's already heated up because I drove it home. But all right, so this is obstacle number 1, getting out of your own damn driveway. Which, as you can see, isn't that hard. Oh, coilovers. Oh, there's a car coming that way, and I'm not that good at driving manual, so we're not gonna go. My name is Mark Roden. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more. I have a 350Z. I like building it, and I also do a lot of top 10 lists and lists like this, trying to help people out. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely subscribe to the channel, my boy. But today's video is something that I had absolutely, it sounds like there's a cop, but I had absolutely no interest on actually making until today. I didn't think I was ever going to make this. I didn't think anybody would ever use it until I actually drove today. And the reason being was, in case you guys don't know, I have a Chrysler PT Cruiser as a daily driver, and then I have this 350Z as like my fun kind of car. And the other day, last night, I went and picked up my 350Z to have a little bit of fun, and I was just like, oh, you know what? I'll keep it overnight, and I'll keep it overnight, and I'll drive it to work tomorrow, and it shouldn't be an issue, right? Well, boy, was I wrong, because it freaking snowed overnight for the first time of the season, and as you can see, there's snow all over the place, and I left for work this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like the plows just didn't do their job. Right now, it's 3:30, so it's cleared up by now, but at 8 in the morning when I left for work, it was not even close to this nice at all. There was snow all over the place, and I was terrified. And the reason why I was terrified is because everyone in my life has always told me, oh, rear-wheel drive sucks in the snow, you're going to crash driving a rear-wheel drive car. And I thought I was going to crash. I thought I was gonna like die on my way to work. I was going like 20 miles an hour everywhere I went. And so I decided, you know what, let's make this video so people actually understand how it feels to daily drive a rear-wheel drive car in a snowy area. First off, I want to start off by saying that if you're watching this video because you're like looking to get a new car, and you're like arguing with your parents because your parents are saying that you don't need a rear-wheel drive car in the snow, here's the deal. If you have no interest in a rear-wheel drive car and you're just trying to like buy a car as a first car, go with all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is 100% the better option for you. For driving in the snow, all-wheel drive is like 10 times better. There's no reason why you should pick a rear-wheel drive car versus an all-wheel drive car for a daily driver in the winter. This car that I have right now, my 350Z, is not a daily driver. It's my project car, and so yes, I daily drive it every once in a while, but I don't daily drive it all the time. And so you need to realize that if you live in a very snowy area and you don't, what I'm trying to say is, if you don't really want a rear-wheel drive car, if you're just looking for a first car and you don't care what it is, as long as you have a car, do not pick rear-wheel drive. All right, it's hurting yourself for no reason. But if you are into rear-wheel drive cars and you really want to like be able to drift during the summer, but you don't have enough money to afford both, that's what we're gonna get into today. Next would be front-wheel drive, obviously. Front-wheel drive can still get stuck in the winter, but it has less of a chance of spinning out. And I think that's the big difference between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. They both get stuck. They both are pretty tough to get out of like big piles of snow, but front-wheel drive at least won't spin out as much as a rear-wheel drive car will. Let's say like you're driving a rear-wheel drive car and you're going over a corner like I'm on right now. That wasn't really that sharp of a corner, but let's say you're going over a normal sized corner, and you're going over this corner and you're like turning the wheel kind of hard, and then you think you're coming out of the corner, and so you're getting on the gas a little bit. There's a good chance that that car is going to catch a patch of ice, and since all the power is going to the rear wheels, it's going to catch in the rear and spin the car out. And that's what's so scary about daily driving a rear-wheel drive car around. And that's what people always commonly refer to them as. But is it actually that bad to the point where you're like freaking clenching the wheel every time you go around a corner at 10 miles per hour? And the answer to you is honestly, no. No, it isn't. I daily drove it only today, yes. But I also talked to my dad, who my dad used to, if you guys don't know, is really into like the older cars, like the old Camaros and everything like that, and the muscle cars and stuff like that. That's what he likes. And he used to own a bunch when he was younger too. And he daily drove them year round. And I think people are forgetting that all-wheel drive cars are a kind of new concept. Yes, they've been around for like 30 years by now, but still, it's like back when our parents were growing up, they didn't have all-wheel drive, okay? They were daily driving either front-wheel drive, or for the majority of them, were driving rear-wheel drive all the time. And if they survived, then why can't we? The big thing about like trying to daily drive a rear-wheel drive car is knowing your limits and just being smart. And it's so much easier said than done. Like, it's like everybody thinks that like, oh, I'm gonna get my first car, I'll be a better driver than everybody else on the road, I know what I'm doing, I'm smarter than those guys. And so they get behind the wheel of a car and they're like, yeah, see, I can do this. And they drive for like a year with no problems, and they're like, yeah, see, this is easy, I don't know what everybody's talking about, how it's hard. And then they get confident, and then they make mistakes, and then they crash, and then they're just like everybody else who crashed their first car. It's like, it's literally the same exact thing over and over and over again. The cycle repeats itself. And when you're younger, having that first car, you're already, even if you have an all-wheel drive car, even if you have a front-wheel drive car, you're already in a situation where you're more likely to crash just because you're new to the road. You don't understand how a car fully works yet, how it fully feels, how it reacts to certain things, how other people are driving, how people are going to come out in front of you or not. You don't understand that part of the road yet. And that's okay, everybody went through that phase. Nobody started out driving and was just perfect, okay? It just doesn't happen that way. So it's fine. But like, minimizing the amount of risks when you're that young is key number one. But I understand if you're watching this video, you're probably a car guy, you probably enjoy driving fun cars. And so I understand if you want to get a rear-wheel drive car, I get that. And to be honest with you, if you live up in a snowy area, it's possible, okay? Everybody online, everybody out there is trying to make it out to be like daily driving a rear-wheel drive car is literally like trying to fight freaking, I don't know, like a Dark Souls boss, when it's not, all right? It's not that. I know a girl, I won't name her right now, but I know a girl lives in my town. She's not into cars at all, but her dad bought her a 350Z for her first car, and she daily drove that year-round, as far as I know, with no problems. I don't really know too much, but she's never crashed, at least I don't think so. And so if she can do it, who isn't really like, a car guy and isn't really like super into cars, then you probably can too, man, all right? It's just that I don't want you to go out there though and be like, to go up to your mom and dad and be like, see, look what this guy said. Look, see, he says that it's okay, you can daily drive a rear-wheel drive car, he says it's fine. Because, dude, you should probably listen to your mom and dad. They're just trying to help you. But, know, I understand, we're car guys, and we want to drive something that's rear-wheel drive. We want to drive something that's more fun for us. We have a certain car, like I wanted this 350Z for the longest time, and I was gonna stop at nothing to get it. And so I understand if you're in the same boat, you know, you don't want to have that boring Honda Civic, or you don't want that WRX that everybody else has. You want your 350Z, or you want your Lexus IS 300 as your first car. And that's fine. It's fine. It really is. But I beg you from the bottom of my heart, realize when you're driving this car, when you're driving your rear-wheel drive car, that you are at such a disadvantage, and you have to really, really pay attention, even more than they tell you to in driver's ed, okay? You're driving something that has a very high risk of you spinning out. And so if it's snowing out, oh, and another thing too, if you're younger, okay, I get it. We like to go out to parties, we like to go out and hang out with our friends and stuff like that. But if you buy a rear-wheel drive car, you're gonna have to give up some of those freedoms and some of those opportunities in order to drive it year-round. The reason being, at night is when it's really cold, all right? At night is when everything freezes up, the sun isn't out, and so there's all this ice on the ground. On top of that, if it's snowing at night, it's harder to tell how heavy it's snowing, so it could be like, you know, freaking have a thunderstorm and you're like just driving around like it's a little shower, or it could be a shower but you think it's a thunderstorm. And so there's a lot of factors that play into it at night, and let's face it, parties happen at night. So if you're like a young kid and you want to go to all these cool parties and hang out with all these friends and stuff like that, and you want to buy a rear-wheel drive car, you're gonna have to give up some of those freedoms unless you want to drive with somebody else. Because, dude, be smart, all right? It's not your, let's say you spent $3,000 on your car for your first car. Do you really want to lose that $3,000 in maybe even your life just so that you can go to one stupid ass party? It's not worth it. There's hundreds and hundreds of parties every weekend, all right? You can go do the exact same thing next weekend, but with a different area and safer, okay? So if you go outside and you have your rear-wheel drive car and it's snowing, don't drive. Don't risk it. I understand if you have to for work, but if you absolutely have to drive it, dude, drive it at like 20 miles an hour, go very slow, make sure your traction controls turn on, don't listen to music, don't go on your phone, sit there and pay close attention to the road in front of you. It's a lot more stressful, yes, but during the summertime, having a rear-wheel drive car does pay off. So I recommend buying a rear-wheel drive car, but I also recommend taking it extremely cautiously. All right, that is the end of today's video, guys. That's all that I wanted to talk about today, which is, should you buy a rear-wheel drive car? Because there's a big stigma about it in the car community, saying, you know, oh, it's too dangerous and you're gonna die if you drive a rear-wheel drive car during the winter, and that's just not true. So I wanted to make this video to ease everybody's minds in case they're like about to buy a car that they really don't want, just to be safer when they can actually still drive their rear-wheel drive car. Just be careful, please. That's all I'm asking, is if you please just be careful, man. I do not want to see one of you guys be like, hey Mark, I bought a rear-wheel drive car because you said it was okay to drive during the winter, and a week later I crashed it into a ditch because I hit a patch of ice and I was going 50 miles an hour. Don't do that. Don't do that. You butthole, I love you. I don't want to see you get hurt. All right? Jesus. Golly. Anyway, guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. I don't know what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Probably a top 10 budget cars video, but I don't know, to be honest. I really enjoyed making this video, though. I like making 350Z style videos, so let me know what else you want to see about the 350Z, other advice you want, other tips, other things like that. And with that out of the way, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support we've been getting recently. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers, and that literally doesn't feel real to say. So thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, guys, thank you. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.